I'm facing a problem in my computer. It does not open uh, any file, so just wait, please. Okay. Okay, for waiting for the computer to open the file because, for instance, it does not open any file. Uh, I'm sharing with you you probably know it is working. Yeah, okay. Okay, so last lecture, I think that I explained for you the concept of the sliding window, if you remember. And we are going to continue talking about the same thing here today. Uh, just give me a few minutes. Okay, so that's what we were explaining for you last time. We said that for a normal, we already explained the concept of sliding window. So I'm going to continue from that side. And we said that if we consider the following scenario that expresses the normal function of the go back n, you will understand later on why we call it go back n. So if we consider a set of frames transmitted from the sender to the receiver, okay? And if we consider that these frames are numbered like 0, 1, 2, 3. So the sequence number is going from 0 to 3, which means that the set of bits m that are used to generate the sequence number is equal to 3, is equal to 2, sorry. Why? Because with 2 I can count 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1, which correspond to the decimal 0, 1, 2, and 3. So for a sequence number like that one, if you remember, last time we said that the window at the sender side should be less or equal at maximum. It should be equal to 2 to the power 2 minus 1, which means that it is at most equal to 3. So that's why you see here that the window at the sender side it is equal to 3, and the window at the starting point, it covers the frames 0, 1, and 2, which means that the sender is capable to send the frame 0, the frame 1, the frame 2 without requesting any acknowledgement. So here we send the frame number 0. The receiver, the window at the receiver side is always with the size that is equal to 1 frame. We are expecting to receive the frame number 0. We receive the frame number 0. Then the sender can send the frame number 1 without waiting for the acknowledgement. It sends the frame number 1. The frame number 1 receive it appropriately. So frame number 0, frame number 1 was both of them transmitted correctly. Then after that, the sender, we can still send the frame number 2, but in between the receiver sends back the acknowledgement 2, telling that I have received the frame number 1 and the frame number 0. And as you could see, we are requesting to transmit, or the receiver is requesting to transmit the frame number 2. Once this frame is received, the receiver slides the window. We said last time that the window will be sliding every time we receive an acknowledgement by a number of frame that is equal to the number of frame that has been that have been acknowledged. So in that case, the window will be slided with 2 units, and it goes to a cover or goes to be opened for the frame number 2, the frame number 3, and the frame number 0 of the next batch. The sender can send the frame number 2, the receiver sends the acknowledgement 3, the sender can send the frame number 3, and so on. What is important to note here is that the receiver is always receiving in order. So the receiver cannot receive out of order because it has a window size that is equal to 1. So it can receive only the sequence of frame in a given order. It might happen that we get damaged or lost frames. So this scenario, it expresses one of the case where we have some frames that are lost, and we in which we are going to explain why the name or from where it is coming, this name go back N. So as you might see, it covers at the beginning, the sender covers at the window at the sender covers at the beginning the frame 0, 1, and 2. We send the frame 0. Frame 0 is received correctly. We send the frame 1. The frame 1 is received correctly. We can continue sending the frame number 3, but in between the receiver sends acknowledgement 2 to say that the frame number 0, the frame number 1 have been received correctly. The window at the sender side will slide every time. Remember that every time we receive an acknowledgement, the window at the sender side, it is sliding by a number of units that is equal to the number of frames that have been acknowledged. Here in this case, it is equal to 2 units, and therefore the window is now opened for the frame 2, the frame number 3, and the frame number 0. The sender sends the frame number 2 that is lost. But in between, remember that at the transmission of every frame, the sender uses a timer, and that timer will count the maximum time to wait for the reception of an acknowledgement. So in this case, the sender sends the frame number 2. The frame number 2, of course, it armed on a timer. There were a timer armed for the transmission of every frame, but just here we are showing it because we suppose that this frame is going to be lost. Then it can send the frame number 3. The frame number 3 is transmitted and delivered correctly, but it will not be received. Why? Because the receiver has a window size that is equal to 1 frame, and that window is still waiting for the frame number 2. So which means that the frame number 3 cannot be accepted. That's why I said in the previous slide, I said that the frames are always receiver in order and cannot be receiver out of the order. So the frame number 3 delivered correctly, it will be discarded. Why? Because we are expecting to receive the frame number 2. At the time out, the sender retransmit the frame number 2. The frame number 2 received correctly. The receiver sends back acknowledgement 3 to say that please retransmit the frame number 3. And from that, you see that the frame number 3 that has been delivered appropriately to the receiver wasn't accepted, even though there are no issue about its transmission. Why? Because this protocol, it receives frame in order. So if one of the frame, that is the number n, it is lost, the protocol go back to that frame, it retransmit it, and then it retransmit all the frame that were transmitted after this frame. So that's why we call it go back n. So go back to the frame number n that has not been received appropriately, and then retransmit all the frame that was sent after it. And you might understand from that that it is a problem because some frames will be were potentially delivered correctly and they will be retransmitted. The case here might be, I mean, the problem might be amplified if we are using a window size of 16 frame or of 8 frame. Why? Because in that case, we might miss, for example, to transmit correctly the frame number 3, and we can success to transmit the frame 4, 5, 6, 7, and at the frame number 7, we have to retransmit the frame number 2 that wasn't transmitted correctly, or the frame number 3. Then after that, we are going to retransmit all the frames, even though they were transmitted or delivered correctly to the receiver. So the omitted frame are discarded, and all the frame coming after, they will be retransmitted later on. Now, one question is that why we are using a window at the sender side that is of a size 2 to the power m minus 1, because let us take this scenario where we have one sender and one receiver. The sender has a window, as you might see, of 3 frames. So it sends the frame number 0, receive it correctly. The receiver sends back the acknowledgement, but we suppose that the acknowledgement is lost. We have a timer that has been armed on. We send the frame number 1, receive it correctly. The sender sends back the acknowledgement, but it is lost again. We send the frame number 2 because it is a load since the window is opened for the frame number 2. We send the frame number 2, receive it appropriately, but the acknowledgement is again lost. And we send the frame number, we retransmit as the time out, we retransmit the frame number 0. The frame number 0 here will not be accepted. Why? Because we are expecting to receive the frame number 3. So we are going to send ACK 3 to say that we are expecting to receive the frame number 3. Now, the same scenario is analyzed with a window that is equal to 4 frames. So if the window is equal to 4 frames, we suppose that the sender frame number 0 that is received correctly, we send back the acknowledgement, but it is lost. We send the frame number 1, the frame number 1 received by the receiver side correctly. The receiver sends back the acknowledgement, but it is lost. We send the frame number 2 that is transmitted appropriately, received correctly. We send the acknowledgement, but it is again lost. We have the right still to send the frame number 3. We send the frame number 3. The frame number 3, it is received appropriately. The same thing happened and the acknowledgement is lost. So at the end, now if we ask to retransmit at the timeout, we ask to retransmit the frame number 0. In fact, it is the retransmission of this frame, but the receiver is expecting a sequence number 0. But which one 0? It's not this one. It is expecting to receive the frame number 0 of the next batch. So when we retransmit the frame number 0, it will be accepted here. Why? Because it is matching the sequence, the expected number, the expected sequence number, and we are wrongly accepting a frame that should be discarded. Why? Because it has been duplicated. So this is to say that the maximum window should not exceed 2 to the power m minus 1. If it exceeds to the power m minus 1, we might receive wrongly some duplicated frames. So here, the window side should be strictly less than 2 to the power m. So at maximum, it should be equal to 2 to the power m minus 1, which makes or which avoids to receive some frames in a wrong way. Are you understanding?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes.
Go
Yes.
back N protocol, the sequence number are modulo 2 to the power m. Modulo, it means what is the cycle of counting, and the cycle of counting, it counts a number of states that is equal to 2 to the power m, where m, it represents the size of the sequence number. The sequence number fields in bits, so the number of bits that are needed to represent the sequence number. Well, the go back N, it is suffering clearly from the capability to receive, to don't be capable to receive packets that are delivered out of order, even though they are delivered correctly. So it might happen that we retransmit multiple frames, and that consumes bandwidth, that consumes time, and it is a problem in a noisy link, because in a noisy link we expect that the process of retransmission will be heavy. So the solution is to retransmit only domained frame. So that's one of the solutions that could be applied in this context, is to resend only the frames that are domained. That's what we call the selective repeat ARQ, which avoid unnecessary retransmission. Uh, so the stop and wait ARQ is a special case of go back N if we consider that the sender window is equal to 1. Well, if we take the go back N protocol and we consider that the window at the sender side, it is equal to 1, it is equal to 1, well, in that case, we are in the repetition of the stop and wait ARQ. Now we are going to talk about the selective repeat. The selective repeat, it uses, well, before that, is there any question about the go back N protocol? Okay, we go to the selective repeat, and in the selective repeat, it is the scenario is a little bit different, because in the selective repeat, the idea is to avoid retransmitting frame that were delivered correctly. And how can we do that? We can do that if we change the size of the receiver, the size of the window at the receiver side. So if the window at the receiver side has a size that is greater than 1, we can accept frames that are out of order. So selective repeat is one of the very important protocol. In selective repeat, the window size, it is equal to half of 2 to the power m. So it is the window at the receiver side, it is equal to the window at the sender side. So let me write it here. In selective repeat, the window at the sender side, it is half, it is 1 over 2 multiply uh, 2 to the power m. M is the sequence number, and the window at the receiver side, it is equal to the window at the sender side. So the window at the receiver side as well as the window at the sender side, they have the same size, and they are equal to half of 2 to the power m. Uh, both of the transmitter and the receiver have the same size window, and we are still using the concept of sliding window to receive the frames. So let us explain how it works. Well, if I take a sequence number that goes from 0 to 3, it means that we are using 2 bits to count the frames. Then I will be capable to send the frame number 0, the frame number 1, the frame number 2, the frame number 3, and then I start for the frame number 0, 1, 2, and so on. If the window now it is equal to 2 to the power 2 over 2, 2 to the power 2, it is equal to 4, over 2, it is equal to 2, and that's why you see here that the window at the sender side, it is equal to 2 frame, which is the same size as the window at the receiver side, okay? So the sender sends the frame number 0, it is received appropriately. It sends the frame number one at the reception of the frame number one, which is received also appropriately. The receiver knows that it has to send back the acknowledgement since the sender cannot send more frames. It sends the acknowledgement. The window will slide with 2 units, which correspond to the number of frames that have been received correctly. Then it is opened, the window at the sender side, it is opened for 2 and 3. And at the same time, the window at the receiver side, it is opened for 2 and 3. We suppose that we send the frame number 2. The frame number 2 is lost, but still the sender can send the frame number 3. The frame number 3 will be delivered and will be received correctly. Why? Because the window allowed to receive more than one frame at a time. At that case, the receiver sends back a NAK. NAK, it's to say negative acknowledgement. ACK, it is to say acknowledgement, and NAK, it is to say negative acknowledgement too. What does it mean? It means please retransmit the frame number 2. So the receiver will retransmit the frame number 2, which will be received appropriately. Then after that, the sender will send if we continue, what will happen? Then the receiver will send here, we're gonna write it, it is ACK 0. What does it mean? It means that now I'm expecting to receive the frame number 0 of the next batch. And the sender will slide the window to be opened for 01. As well as the receiver, it will slide the window to be opened for 01, and we can continue the transmission of 01. As you might see here in the selective repeat, I'm retransmitting only the frame that were damaged. I would not retransmit the frame that were delivered correctly. For the same reason that I was explaining, the window should not exceed a size of half of 2 to the power m, because if it exceeds half of 2 to the power m, we might receive wrongly some frames, which will not be the appropriate case. And that's why the window using the protocol, the selective repeat protocol, should not exceed 2 to the power, half of 2 to the power m. Just to remind you that half 2 to the power m over 2, which represent half, it is nothing else than 2 to the power m minus 1. But minus 1, it's at the exponent part. It is different, this is different to 2 to the power m minus 1, which was the window high level data link control, please refer to the textbook. So we're gonna move to the next chapter, at least to introduce it. So I think that I uploaded for you the chapter 4. I'll upload it also for the other group. So the chapter number 4 is about the medium access control layer. We abstract the name of this layer sublayers. It is the layer number 2. Still, we are talking about the data link layer, but here we are talking about the medium access control sublayer. And the medium access control sublayer is should ensure one of the important function of the medium access control sublayer is to ensure the control access to the medium, or the access control to the medium. And let us say that if we talk about human protocol, we have different rules that could be applied for human conversation in depth. We, in general, give for everybody the chance to express his point of view in a conversation. We, in some specific environment, we raise up the hands before taking the speech. So it means that we cannot talk like that. We have to just get an explicit authorization to speak. We don't speak until we are يعني asked to speak. We don't interrupt when someone is speaking. We don't monopolize conversation. So when we get the right to speak, we have to get a certain limits to take the right of speaking. So we cannot monopolize, I mean, taking all the time of speaking. We don't fall asleep when someone else is talking. So if another person is talking, we don't fall asleep. Uh, in reality, that's what happened in a human conversation. So in a human conversation, we have the capability of giving I mean, to use some rules that helps to makes that some people wait for the right of speaking, and some other they can express their idea. Um, the machine communication needs to implement a protocol that synchronize and that organize how multiple machine will be capable to share the physical medium if it is if several machines are simultaneously using the same physical link. So that's what we are going to develop in the this part of chapter. And to do that, we are going to talk about different protocol used for access control. We will talk about the random access protocol. We are going to talk about the controlled access protocol, the channelization protocol. So the main focus will be given to the random access protocol. So that will be our main concern in this chapter. We are going to detail the Aloha protocol, the CSMA protocol, the CSMA CD protocol, and the CSMA CA protocol. These protocol will be detailed in this chapter. So we are going to start with the random access protocol. And in random access protocol or contention methods, no station is superior to another station. So all the stations, they have the same priority. And no one is assigned the control over another. So no station is assigned the control over another station. No station permits another station to send. So in random access protocol or in contention methods, we don't uh, give the priority or the if you want some privileges for one machine compared to other machine. All the machine they have exactly the same priority. At each instance, a station that has data to send uses a procedure defined by protocol to make a decision on whether it can send or not. So every machine it has to behave independently, and it has to decide by its own capability whether it has to send data or not, and it does not need any explicit authorization coming from other machine to send the data. So that's what we call the random access protocol, or we call it also contention method. It is a method where no station is given the right over another one. So we are going to discuss the Aloha protocol, as I said. We are also going to discuss the CSMA protocol, the CSMA CD protocol, and the CSMA CA protocol in the following part of this chapter. Well, uh, we start with the Aloha protocol. The Aloha protocol has been designed a long time away by the University of Hawaii. And in this protocol, one station, it sends the frame and it waits for the reception of the acknowledgement. So there are no complexity in terms of any verification or any awareness about the state of the channel. If one machine has uh, uh, a frame ready to be transmitted, it will just send this frame and it will wait until the reception of the acknowledgement. That's the main protocol or the main approach of the Aloha protocol. So at any moment, if one machine has a frame ready to be transmitted, it will send the frame and then it will wait for the reception of the acknowledgement. If more than two machines will be transmitting at the same time, of course, you understand that there will be collision, and that collision will lead that all the machine have to retransmit their frame later on after a certain delay. So the protocol or the flowchart of the Aloha protocol is represented by this diagram. When a station gets a frame ready to be transmitted, it will initialize a counter K, and then it will start sending the frame without any verification. Okay, it will wait after transmitting the frame. It will wait to multiply the propagation time. Why? Because we suppose that the transmission time of the acknowledgement is very short, and that's why we consider that the delay is equal to the propagation in double direction. So it is equal to 2 multiply the propagation time. If we receive the acknowledgement, then the transmission is considered successful. And if we don't receive the acknowledgement, we are going to increment the counter. The counter will count how many times we try to transmit the frame, taking into account that most of the protocol they implement a maximum number of trial that is equal to 16. So we start with 0, and if we exceed 15, we have to stop, which means that we try only 16 times to transmit the same frame. And if we don't success in 16 times, it means that the channel is not useful, and that's why we stop trying to send the frame. Now, if we don't exceed 16, we are going to select a random number that belongs to the interval 0 to 2 to the power k minus 1. And then we are going to wait a time that is equal to r, that random r, multiply that random number r multiply the propagation time, or R multiply the transmission of the frame. So often it is R multiply the propagation time, and then we are going to loop again to try to send the frame and check whether we can receive an acknowledgement or not. So the whole idea of this diagram is that if we have one frame ready to be transmitted, then we just start sending the frame. If we receive the acknowledgement, it means that the frame has been transmitted successfully. And if we don't receive the acknowledgement, it means that we get a collision. In that case, we are going to select a waiting time based on the selection of a random number. We will wait a time and then we will try again to retransmit the frame. That's what happened here in the previous slide. So the frame number 2, frame 1, 2, the frame 2, 1, and the frame 3, 1, the frame 4, 1, all of them, they were not being delivered correctly. So after a while, after a waiting time, if each one of these machine, the machine number 1, the machine number 2, the machine number 3, and the machine number 4, since all of them, they participated in this collision, each one of them, it will select a random number, it will wait that random number, and then it will try to retransmit the frame. But of course, nothing forbidden that after the retransmission of the frame, again, a collision will happen, and we will take another time in the interval 0 to 2 to the power k minus 1, taking into account that the interval will be wider than the first one, or larger than the first one. Are you understanding the diagram of the Aloha protocol?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, so that's enough for today. We are going to stop here. The second midterm will be performed after the break that we are going to get for Eid al-Fitr. And I hope that you will get this opportunity to, to revise at least the chapter 2 that was, the chapter 3 that was covered after the first midterm. So unless you have any question, we're gonna stop here. Thank you very much for attending, and see you inshallah next lecture. Any question?
يا دكتور.
directly after Eid.
لا ان شاء الله الاسبوع الثاني بعد الاجازه. تفضل يا معاذ.
دكتور بسألك عن المواضيع اللي معنا بس للتأكيد.
تقصد على الميتيرم يا معاذ؟
اي
هو ان شاء الله احنا بناخذ الميتيرم بعد الاجازه، يعني بعد الاسبوع الاول من العوده. still we are going to get normal courses. والاسبوع الثاني ناخذ ان شاء الله الميتيرم 2. بيكون معنا chapter 3 chapter 2 chapter 3 and whatever we are going to stop in chapter 4.
اي تمام. ترى يا دكتور السلايدات ما نزلتها.
chapter 4.
اي
Could you check right now please? I think that I uploaded them in LMS.
ما حصلتها
والله؟
مم.
Okay, let me check it back. Yes, you have right. I just uploaded the file, but without giving you the right to see it. Normally you have it right now. Can you see it right now?
ثواني. اي ظهر عندي.
Okay.
مم.
Thank you everybody. See you inshallah after the see you next Wednesday inshallah. We have still
ان
one
شاء الله.
lecture. Okay, shukran.
تحضير ولا ايش؟
تفضل يا عبد الرحمن.
Chapter 2 included.
Yes. You have something else that you want to talk about with me?
افتر تحضير
It's
بيني
it's
وبينك.
it is done. التحضير, it's okay for today. We are not going to take the attendance. Everybody is present. So if you have something to say, please. I'm listening to you.
alone.
Okay. Could you please leave the lecture, the other student?
اوكي دكتور.
Thank you.
بخصوص الكويز،
Mhm.
الموعد ما تحس انه بعيد؟ هذا هو السؤال عندي.
ما هو بالإحساس يا عبد الرحمن.
ما
It's when you are absent in one of the assessment, the rules is that the student get the chance, if he has the right to repeat the quiz or the exam or any kind of assessment, that will be performed at the last week of the semester.
طيب يمدينا نسوي هذا الاسبوع مثلا يوم الخميس، اي يوم في
No.
رمضان، اسرع
No,
وقت،
we cannot.
اذا في غيري.
Now,